What's going on, guys? Screech here, and welcome back to another basic guide to video. It's becoming a big series on my channel, and I just want to sit here and thank you for the support that I got on the Tenpai and Snake Eyes basic guide 2. Today, Lightsworn, one of the decks that I hold so dear to my heart, so I'm really excited to talk about Lightsworn today. This is the list I'm going to be playing, but before we start, we're going to talk about Lightsworn as a whole. This is a engine. This is an engine that facilitates milling and sending cards from your deck to the grave, and you can do a lot to almost all of the combos without your normal summon. So we're going to talk about all of the techs and stuff that you can play in the deck, and just general things that synergize really well. So we'll start off with Kashtira Fenrir. Kashtira Fenrir is a phenomenal card that can be played in any deck. It's splashable. The card is fantastic. One of the best cards ever printed, in my opinion. But more importantly in this, it can actually add Tier Elements Kashtira, which is a mill 2 on its own. Just something to synergize really well with the deck, as it's borderline a starter on its own as well. Zombies. You're going to be doing a lot of stuff in the grave, so anything zombie related can also go in here. We've got Plague Spreader already in the deck that I'm playing, but you can play anything. Baladrot, Unizombie, Gozuki, Mezuki. We can go on and on and on. Any good relevant zombie, you can make Zombie Swarm viable again with the new stuff. Tier Elements, this is going to be the elephant in the room, let's be honest. They're probably the best mill deck, or the best thing to mill we've ever had. Tier Elements are phenomenal. I personally have never been a fan of them, but we are still here talking about the meta relevance of Tier Elements after, what, 4 ban lists of them being hit? Like, almost all of them are at 1, right? And they are still relevant today, and they possibly are going to get more relevant with the Lightsworn stuff. Look, we got Shiren at 1, Havnus at 1, Merly at 1, one of the fusions is banned. Like, so much stuff gone, and we're still talking about them being meta. This also goes for something like King of the Swamp, also kind of synergizes well with it as being a substitute for any fusion. So you can play King of the Swamp, and if you mill King of the Swamp and get a fusion effect off the tiers, you can actually make some cool stuff like the Grapha fusion, Dragoon, Guardian Chimera. You can play some Shadol cards, which we didn't actually put in the side deck here, to make things like Construct and Winder. Just cool stuff you can do with the fusioning aspect by including like the Tier Elements cards. Next we're going to be talking on things about like Synchrons in general, adventure cards, as well as Assault Synchron and Revolution Synchron. Like I said, you can do most of these combos without your normal summon. I would probably not recommend adventure, but you can sure as hell play it. There is no reason to say that it is completely unplayable. Revolution Synchron and Assault Synchron both being cool effects that can activate from the grave. But at the end of the day, your deck is going to be focusing on mostly 2 things, which is making Synchro for 8s and rank 8s, as well as rank 4s and link boards. That is what this aspect of Lightsworn is going to be. So some cool rank 4s you can make that we're not talking about today. Banshee, which can actually search Nemesis Flag as an extender. Forstrich, which can search the Zephyros the Elite, which is a cool extender. And then for rank 8s, number 38 is good, Zombie Vampire for extra mills, number 90. You can also go ahead and actually make things like Coach King, which is a draw 3. You can probably include like the Dragalubian OTK in there, and as you can see from this build, not even including the tier cards, because we are playing a cool Melodious engine, which we will talk about combos with that later on. We'll actually be making Fusion, Synchro, XZs, and Links, so you can also include things like Cross Sheep, and just any generic links, like Access Code is a good link you can play in here. But the majority of the time, you're going to be trying to end on Savage Dragons, number 90s, Minervas, Appaloosas, Dwellers, Baron de Fleurs potentially, and you're going to do all that with the new Lightsworn stuff, which is Dragon of the Lightsworn. This is one of the brand new cards, one of the best ones we have. We're actually going to be playing 3 copies of this and 3 copies of the other new monster we have. If you have a Lightsworn card in your grave, this is going to be a free special summon from your hand, and of course when it is special summoned, you can actually send any Lightsworn card from your deck to the grave. This is going to be able to send your Lightsworn Magis if you need, which is the new trap that we'll talk about later, but the majority of the time you're going to be sending the good old reliable Felice or Wolf, which are going to be free special summons, allowing you to make Synchro for 8s or rank 4s, depending on what line of play you want to go down, and what hand, and the board state and everything else. But the majority of the time, this is going to be a 1 card rank 4 or 1 card Synchro for 8 with minor setup. Your second card is Whis Lightsworn Archfiend. This is another new addition we are getting in the next set, Legacy of Destruction. What this does is allows you to place any Lightsworn card from your hand to the top of the deck for a free special summon, and then mill 2 cards. Important thing to note, the Lightsworn you put on the top of your deck is going to be one of those 2 mills, so if you have Dead Wolves or Dead Felices in your hand, this is a good way of unbricking them whilst also gaining additional advantage. Both of the new Lightsworn cards also have graveyard effects. Dragon of the Lightsworn here, when it's sent to the graveyard, will add you a dragon with 3000, 2600, which will be Judgment Dragon, by the way. We've already searched it earlier. You can only search Punishment Dragon or Judgment Dragon off of this. And Whis, when it's sent to grave, will actually special summon 1 Lightsworn card from your graveyard. So, they are some cool new Lightsworn cards. We're not quite finished yet. We are including some other new cards, including the Lightsworn Magis, the trap card. Target any face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Lightsworn monsters you control and negate the effects. This is basically like a pseudo Forbidden Droplet if you just have a board of Lightsworns. This thing also will set itself if milled, so it's a really cool card to incorporate in the deck as well. And the last card is Minerva Lightsworn Athena. This is the new Minerva Synchro for 8 that actually has the following effects. Lightsworn monsters you control cannot be banished by card effects. You can only use the following effect of Minerva once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, send any Lightsworn cards from your deck equal to the number of Lightsworn cards used for its material. So you're going to be usually sending 1 or 2. And when it's summoned, obviously you can send any 2. So you can send things like Whis, Wolf, Felice. If you already have stuff facilitated in the grave, and maybe you already have stuff like Lumina in hand, you can send Raidens and stuff like that. You can send anything. It also has the second effect of you can banish up to 4 Lightsworn cards from your grave to mill that many cards to the graveyard from the top of your deck. So this thing's going to facilitate additional mills whilst also setting up the majority of your plays. And that's it for the Lightsworns. We are going to briefly, just briefly, because this deck is mostly about Lightsworns and how to start the Lightsworn combos, we're going to briefly talk about the Melodious cards that are coming out in the next set as well. Refrain, Couplet, and of course both of the fusions are also going to be included in this. All of these just do one thing, which is set up Minerva as a rank 4 mill, whilst also setting up Appaloosa and Pendulum Scales without the use of your normal summon most of the time. Like 90% of the time, it's going to set up Appaloosa, a rank 4, which will usually be Minerva, and Pendulum Scales without committing any sort of normal summon. You pair that with something like the Horus engine we're playing here, that's going to be something like Appaloosa, Minerva, Zombie Vampire, or number 90, again, without your normal summon and without milling anything. That's multiple layers of interaction alone before you've actually started to play the game. And that's pretty much the whole reason that you play these little sub-engines in the deck. Things like Destiny Hero Malicious gives you additional things to link climb. Same with Trick Clown, same with Zephyros the Elite, same with Plague Spreader Zombie. They're going to help you facilitate bigger synchros, bigger XZs, bigger links, bigger fusions. But without further ado, guys, that is the Lightsworn deck. Let's go into some of the combos you can do with the deck, and then at the end of the video we are actually going to show you a completely random hand and show you a cool board we made live off just pressing test hand and seeing what we can do. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Ostinato combo. I first seen this from a YouTuber known as Lugio. I'll leave his link into the description down below. But what these combos essentially is going to do here, press the right button, this is going to be able to set you up something like Appaloosa and Minerva without committing any sort of normal summon. It also semi-plays around Nibiru. We'll show you as we go along. So it starts with Ostinato by summoning Batcher, sending 2 of the red one, Refrain the Melodious Songstress. And then on the summon of Batcher, you actually can special summon 1 from deck, so you're going to actually go ahead and get your 3rd copy of Refrain. And then Refrain will activate once more, getting you the other one, which is Couplet. Couplet, when it's added to hand, except by drawing it, will actually just sort of reveal itself in the hand and special summon 1 from grave. And here alone, you actually have a variety of plays you can make, like just hard making Minerva, the Charmer, IP Masquerena, and stuff like that. But we're going to show you the super overextending one, which is Couplet. Couplet effect to add Melodious Conceptro. Concerto? Concerto. They're all Italian names. We're going to go ahead and activate it and get Flowering Étoile by Sunlight Batcher, Refrain, and Couplet. And then now we are in Nib territory, but Flowering actually has the effect to banish any number of Melodious cards until the end of the turn. And then I can return that many cards that my opponent controls to face up. It's not relevant, the return, because this is a going first combo. But it does mean if your opponent activates Nib at any point now, we can actually banish them and we're going to get them back on the end phase. So we now have every effect under the sun. We have both of the pendulum scales here going to reset themselves as pendulum scales. And then we also have Batcher to special summon one from the grave. So Batcher's going to resummon. We're going to get the scales back. Pardon me. And then the world's our oyster. We can actually do so much from here. It can start by just making liner. And then we can just pendulum summon these. Again, these combos are going to be showing you the basics you can do with 1 or 2 cards. Of course, if you have more in hand at this point and you want to overcommit, you can pendulum summon your whole hand. More than likely, you're going to have something between the levels of 1 and 9. You know, things like wolves and raidens and stuff like that. From here, we can actually go ahead and make Exceed the Pendulum, which will trigger the effect of Exceed the Pendulum, allowing us to add one from the pendulum scale back. So we're going to add this thing back, which is, you know, again, just so much good stuff we can do from here. We can go ahead and activate it, special summon one from our hand. We can then commit to making Minerva. And then, regardless of what Minerva mills here, which it just happened to mill wolves, which unfortunately are mandatory, so I have to activate them, we are then fine to just make something like Appaloosa with these. And that's a 2-card Appaloosa with the Melodious fusion off just the fusion card without committing any sort of normal summon. From here we're fine to, you know, commit a normal summon of whatever and play the deck as we want to. We're fine here to make things like the Horus cards and attempt to play the deck without a normal summon. That's what these cards are here to do. They are here to facilitate some form of negate or some form of combo or some form of play without committing the normal summon, because unfortunately most of the Lightsworn combos start with like normal summon Lumina, normal summon Raiden, or, you know, milling specific things like Wolf, Felice, Whis, or of course having the dragon in your hand now. So all of these just allow you to stack your graveyard quite a lot, set up negates to actually start facilitating your normal plays. Okay, so let's talk about some actual Lightsworn combos. What can you do with the new Lightsworn cards? All we're going to need for this is access to the new card Dragon of the Lightsworn, and of course any Lightsworn card in the grave, allowing us to essentially special summon the Dragon of the Lightsworn. So here we've started with a Charge of the Light Brigade. We've milled a Lumina. Doesn't matter that it's a Lumina, it can be any of the Lightsworn names, as long as you have one to trigger Dragon of the Lightsworn from hand for a free special summon. When Dragon's summoned, it's going to allow you to send any Lightsworn card from your deck to the grave. Just note that this is actually card, and you can actually send things like the Trap. We're not going to be sending the Trap, we're actually going to be sending Felice, and because Felice was sent via a monster effect, the mandatory effect will trigger and summon. Felice is also a tuner, which allows us to essentially make any Synchro for 8, like Borrowload Savage, or the play we're going to go for here, which is Minerva Lightsworn Athena. Minerva on summon is going to actually activate, allowing us to mill 2 cards, and then we're also going to get the important effect of Dragon of the Lightsworn to add a copy of Judgment Dragon to our hand. Minerva will activate and allow us to send any 2 cards of our choice. We're going to send Wolf for the free summon and Whis for a free summon. This here is more than enough advantage, sorry, as Whis is going to trigger, allowing us to get the Felice as well. So we're going to get Wolf and Felice off of this. Huge plays right here. And then we're going to go ahead and be able to make something like Minerva, and Minerva is going to allow us to mill another 3 cards from our deck to the grave. And from here, World's our oyster. We can actually special summon the Judgment Dragon here. We don't need to use the effect. We can go ahead and activate the Minerva, banishing 4 Lightsworn names, allowing us to mill another 4 cards. And then last but not least, we are free here to overlay for either a negate in number 90 or the zombie vampire if we're feeling really greedy here and want to mill another handful of cards. And of course then off that we also get the free special summon. You know, we can even get the Lumina back that we milled. Well, we actually milled our opponent's Lumina, but we can get the Lumina back here, or any of the Lightsworns to start facilitating. From here again, the world is your oyster. You've got access to Charmers, you've got access to Celine, you've got access to make IP, climb up into things like Appaloosa. You will still have at least 4 cards in hand to combo off, make negates and stuff, but that's going to be the basic combo. As you can see, it's stacked 15 cards in the graveyard, bunch of bodies on the field, which is what you want to do in Lightsworn in order to try and climb up Links, XZs, etc. Okay, so now we're going to show you the Refrain combo. Unfortunately, this combo starts with normal summoning Refrain, so it does actually use your normal summon, but it is going to set you up Pendulum Scales as well as an Appaloosa once again to, you know, stop anything, allow your Pendulum Summon to go through, and essentially start your mills with that way. So, Refrain is going to activate, searching, of course, the couplet. Couplet will activate itself in the scale, and this time we're going to immediately activate Couplet and search for the fusion spell. Then from there we are actually going to activate Melodious Conceptro and summon a Batcher ourselves. And then we're going to go ahead and activate all of the effects once again. Batcher as Chainlink 1 to play around certain things, and Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3 will be, of course, Couplet and Refrain. Lots of clicking, let's go. And we go ahead and set up Pendulum Scales here, and this allows us to special summon Refrain number 2. We're then going to go ahead and activate the Refrain in the Pendulum Scale, targeting our Batcher. It basically targets a fusion, sends one and gives it a nice little attack buff, but what this will then allow us to do is link into our liner, which will of course trigger multiple effects in the grave. We're actually going to summon Batcher to summon one from grave, which will be the Refrain again, which we just sent, and it will also trigger Conceptra to put itself at the bottom and draw a card. And then from here you are fine once again to climb up into Exceed the Pendulum, activate Exceed the Pendulum's effect to add one from the Pendulum Scale. We're going to add Refrain again, and then we're going to go ahead and activate Exceed the Pendulum, summon out the Refrain, link with both of these into Appaloosa, and then once again now we are free to Pendulum Summon whatever we have in our hand, as well as both of the Refrains, and allow us to start milling once again with Minerva. Okay guys, so I will be brutally honest with you. I can sit here for hours. I can sit here and show you 10, 20 hours of combos of if you mill this specific card, if you mill that specific card, if you play the Tears and you mill the Tears, you can make this fusion, if you mill this, you can make Dragoon, if you mill the zombies and you have Zombie World up, you can revive this, you can play Battle Drop, you can play that, but the only way you're going to learn Lightsworns, the only way that you're going to be able to adapt is to look at the meta and is to play the deck. This here is the list I showed you at the beginning of the video. Not going to make any changes. All I'm going to do is go here into hand test settings and show you that it is a 5-card random hand, and see what we draw. So here we've drew a really weird hand. We've drew Double Dragon, we've drew Trick Clown and Medora. So this hand is going to be completely dependent off what we mill off of charge. Now we have milled some decent cards there. I saw a Lumina and an Imseti. So we are actually going to go ahead and get a Lumina here, and then of course Dragon of the Lightsworn is going to activate and get us a Judgment Dragon. So we have Lightsworns in the grave now, which means the Dragon of the Lightsworn is actually going to be able to do stuff. He's going to be able to summon, and he's going to be able to send us a copy of Felice. We're going to go ahead and go down this combo line this time. I feel that is correct. We hit Zephyros as well. That's also cool to know. So we will go ahead and start by making Minerva, and Minerva will activate, and we're going to send Wolf, and we're going to send Whis. Similar to the combo that you've seen earlier, we are going to go ahead and get a Felice off of this. That's a Felice summon. That's a Wolf summon. We've already milled all of the Lightsworn, so I'm not expecting much off of this Minerva here, but we will see. Okay, we actually milled a few names. We milled a Lumina, so we get a draw. Very nice. we have more than enough summons here, more than enough Lightsworn names to actually summon the JD. Minerva can banish some names, get some more mills in. We hit a Felice bonus. What else did we hit there? We hit a Raiden. All three of the refrains, so ain't doing any refrain stuff this turn. We'll go ahead here and make a zombie vampire. Let's get some zombie vampire mills. We're only going to be using what I mill off of this. Obviously, if your opponent mills some stuff, that you can summon what they have and do some stuff. But for me, I milled Whis, Keldo, and Cornet, so we'll get the Whis here. No, we don't want our opponent getting 3 things. Why would we want that? Right, let's have a look here now. So we're still not committed to normal summon. We have a discard for Lumina. Lumina is probably going to be our normal summon this turn, and we'll either pitch the Trick Clown or the Medora. We have 2 level 4s, so we also have access to things like Abyss Dweller. I think the play here might just be to climb up into some stuff. So let's we could just commit straight to Appaloosa generally. Let's go ahead and make a liner. We won't use the effect. What we're actually going to do is climb up with that and this into a Celine. Celine's going to gain a bunch of counters. It's more than 3, more than likely 90% of the time. And we are going to go ahead and revive something here. We can revive Imseti, which is pretty cool. It will allow us to, if we hit a plague, make a... oh, actually, what we can do is we can go Zephyros bounce the Imseti. This is a cool play. I like this. And then what we can do is we can use this and this, which is a tuner here, to make a Borrowload Savage Dragon. And then Savage Dragon can actually equip the liner that we use to climb up into the Celine. And now we can go ahead and activate the Imseti and pitch the Trick Clown. Oh, that was such a cool play. That's something that, you know, you're only going to see if you test the deck a lot. So we're going to go ahead and get the Trick Clown here. Take the 1000 damage, which is fine. We'll make a 2-card Appaloosa. Beautiful, and yeah, now we can go ahead and King Sark. King Sark effect. We're actually going to pitch the other Shuffler here, just because it's additional interactions. Send Happy. And now we're going to get Imseti. And now we're going to get a Happy. And yeah, we're off to the races again for mills. We can make a number 90. We've already gone through Zombie Vampire, so Zombie Vampire isn't really an option. But this is going to be another form of interaction with the number 90. We can go ahead and activate Whis actually to put back the dragon and get a free special summon. And then we'll obviously mill the dragon. And then we can go ahead and normal Lumina, activate Lumina, pitch the Imseti that we have, get ourselves... we may as well get Raiden, actually, because there's going to be additional mills. Raiden... we'll go ahead and activate Raiden as well, in case we hit, like, Plague or something. We didn't. Probably the best play here would be then to just make a Abyss Dweller or an IP Masquerader here. And that'll be the board. That was just a completely random hand. We have a 2-card Appaloosa, a negate off the number 90, no graveyard effects because of the Dweller, a Savage negate. We also actually hit both of the Shufflers, so we'll be able to shuffle back 6 cards from either graveyard as well. That was just a completely random hand. It took my whole hand, but it's a pretty cool board, and it's a pretty cool deck, and of course, your boards will differ no matter what you are playing, whatever text you're playing. But that's been it, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully you can come up with some really spicy Lightsworn lists, and hopefully you can come up with some really spicy Lightsworn combos. But if you have enjoyed the video, you should leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you check my other videos. I do basic guides to a lot of the decks coming out in the next format, and make sure you check the shorts for the individual combos that will be posted throughout the weeks. But it's been your boy Screech, guys. Peace.